I'm going to interrupt it at this point because I'm now back live in the studio. It's about 9:45, so I'm a bit late. I've been ill the last couple of weeks. I've had a cold, but I'm recovering from it. Chris is here, so we'll sort of merge into the Wild Show at some point. But I wanted to do a few updates on things that have happened. So it's partly drama, because this is the drama show, but it verges off into reality at some points. So I've got a couple of plays about moving online, students and education moving online, and this comes about in Exeter because the university is such a large feature of the city. So I've got one about a CD walk, moving about Exeter, looking where the retail used to be for music, and asking the question why education won't go the same way. And well, let's just stick with that one because I haven't got that much time. Express and Echo today, overbearing flats approved. Pleas for homes to be for locals ignored, as 10-storey block will contain 300 rooms for uni students. And I think this is near the roundabout so there's going to be a lot of student blocks. The one by the police station, or where replacing the police station, is not going to be quite as massive as it once was, but there's going to be quite a lot of this. And just in reality terms, I'd like to ask the question, has anybody thought about what happens in 5 or 10 years' time if education moves online?
We're going to have lots of rooms.
Sorry, Chris, have a microphone.
You wanted a debate, my input on
Well, you're
it.
talking, Chris, so you might as well have a microphone.
Okay. We're going to have lots of rooms.
Lots of rooms. Do you think we're going to have spare rooms that people can just rent on a short-term basis?
Possibly.
It could be, couldn't it?
Airbnb. Yeah, I solved all the problems.
I think if you look on Airbnb in the summertime, you might find a few rooms somewhere near Sidwell Street.
Yeah.
But well, look, Chris, I think seems I've got about 10 minutes left. I think I'll just ramble a bit now. At Bet, where we both went.
Yeah, we did.
You weren't there on the Wednesday, but there was.
I was.
Well, you were there later on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
You arrived in the afternoon on the Wednesday.
Yeah.
But you weren't there in the morning.
No.
But I was. So I went to a meeting about the financial situation of UK universities.
It all happens.
Bet is a very central place.
Yeah.
Or Excel is a central place, and Bet is a very solid tech show.
Well, London's not really central.
Excel, not central.
No.
Well,
because London's sort of in the southeast. And the Midlands is central.
Yes, but I mean all of that is true. The NEC is a much better space from that point of view.
Yeah, let's get Excel to move to the NEC.
Well, I'm not sure, Chris. They have. I know you're a sort of Birmingham person, but they're all into roundabouts, aren't they? And they don't have the Elizabeth line going to the NEC. Well, perhaps that will happen. Perhaps they'll give up on their high-speed railway and they'll just expand the Elizabeth line.
Yeah, who knows?
Then it would work. But what I wanted to say was, Amal Rajan was the interviewer at this one, but he had nothing to say about the BBC moving online or why some people are talking about leaving the Today programme and going onto YouTube or have photographs of their Instagram page appearing in the Daily Telegraph. Why is that all happening? And does that have any implications for where education might go? Is that a fair question, Chris?
Yeah.
We'll come back to that. But I did manage to get a question in, which is on YouTube for Universities UK.
Oh.
Now, the answer did include a few things. There was mention of the MOOCs, so the MOOCs still exist. I'm not sure they were that strong at BET, but there was edX, the open bit of edX, the coding, not the bit that was sold to 2U, but the other bit. They were there, so I'll come back to them on another occasion. And Manchester is doing a lot apparently. I have checked this out online, and it seems to be true. They are doing online courses, and they're also doing blended courses or mixed courses, whatever you want to call it. And I think that makes a lot of sense. And then there was another thing as well. There was a third thing. Well, the third thing was that students expect face-to-face lectures. That's what they've been told they should get if they go to a campus. Well, I'm not sure about that, because I didn't really get an answer to my questions about if there were online courses, would they be cheaper, and could they be offered internationally without any visa issues? And those two questions, I don't think there was an answer on that. But what I'm going to do is load up all the questions and all the answers, including the ones that happened in the main bit, and then people can add on to them. It'll all turn up as short video on YouTube, and that's all mixable. So we'll come back to that. But I'm definitely going to ask the question, how much student accommodation actually is going to be needed in 5, 10 or 15 years, because the other thing I've noticed, and was very clear from BET, artificial intelligence, it may never get anywhere near doing what it's supposed to be doing or what is claimed for it. It may be just tens of billions of pounds straight into nonsense land for no reason at all. But it is disrupting what's going on. There was no sign of Adobe this year. Canva were there with Affinity part of it. So why is that? Adobe's share price is at a 5-year low, and the explanation seems to be there won't be so many designers. There will be just people asking their robot to do a poster for them. And that's all that's going to happen, which may or may not be true. But you look at what's there, and maybe trade shows are not the indicator they once were of what's going on, but something's happening there. Chris, I think the other thing to mention, it seems this is the drama show bit, is the event we're going to go to later today, if we get it all sorted and it's not raining too much.
Yeah.
Forever Young.
Yeah.
Is at the Barnfield, and
Yeah.
it's free. Anybody listening now who has got nothing else to do or happens to be close to the Barnfield about 1 o'clock today, they've got a sort of rehearsal, open pre-look at this show, which is about a sort of as I've understood it, it's a sort of retirement home for musicians who were once performers, and I think they're going to cast it with people the Northcote audience may be familiar with. Exactly who that is, I'm not sure, but that may come up on the day, and so we'll make notes. I'm not sure we're going to be able to record anything, but we might be able to persuade somebody to come to a show in the future. But I think this is going to be very interesting, because Chris, do you think we could do a radio show about a sort of retirement home for old presenters? People who are a bit stuck in the 80s or Motown world.
You mean JD?
Well, I thought JD could be cast as somebody who lives in the 80s.
Okay.
But I mean, I could be cast as somebody who lives in the age of Motown. You could be the heroic figure who is struggling to come into this century.
I like that, the heroic figure.
You won't actually make it. For most of the plot, we'll try and keep you back in the 90s.
Oh.
But you could have a vision of the 21st century as daytime radio, but you never get there.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think we could do that.
You're allowed to write this play, Will.
Well, we'll just do a bit of improv and I shall make notes and then I'll feed it all into a chatbot and the chatbot can write it down. Do you think?
Okay.
We've got, as long as we present our play before they do theirs, which is in March sometime, they won't be doing us for just ripping off their play. Ours is a
No.
completely different play.
Yeah.
But I think perhaps we could get the phonic board to arrive as a finale and say that you've got a brilliant idea of moving into this century and it's time for quite a lot of the phonic presenters to be retired somewhere. I don't know, I've just got various dramatic events in my head. There could be a big speech towards the end.
A retirement home for old DJs.
Well, perhaps there could be another studio somewhere.
Yeah.
We're spreading into East Devon. We've got I mean, nothing against East Devon. I'm not saying East Devon's a retirement home, but if we've got a DAB signal in East Devon, perhaps there's a space there. I don't know. All of this can be worked out. Chris, I'm going to play one track before we get to the Wild Show, but I do realise time's moving out. When we went to bed, one of the people we saw was the Royal Shakespeare Company, and they were a bit unusual, I think, because now that it's all a bit expensive at Excel, you don't get so many museums and cultural organisations taking up space there. But the RSC have got a very large project of schools material, which is available now, but is going to be expanded later in the year. I think they've got Macbeth available now, and it's going to be Romeo and Juliet later in the year. But they did say we could contact them around about July, and we can find out a bit more about this. But what I thought would happen, and I have checked it out, and it is happening, is that they're using social media a lot more as well. They're definitely getting into all this online stuff, and so I'm going to play this track, Double Trouble, Toil and Trouble, which is, I'll read the blurb. Whitney White, Renee Lamb and Georgina Onura and Timoko Ramsey introduce you to the world of Lady Macbeth in All Is But Fantasy. So All Is But Fantasy is the show, and it includes other Shakespeare plays as well. But this is 36 seconds, and I seem to have played it all in background mode. Hang on a minute. Let's hope this works.